Hi, Garth Holcombe here. I've got a little story for you called The Keyhole. The actor arrived at the old theatre and went to the box office where a woman greeted him, giving him a key to his dressing room. She told him that on the way to his room there is a door with no number that is locked. "Nobody is allowed in," she said. "Don't be tempted to steal a peek. That room is off limits to all." The actor followed the instructions and went straight to his room. Now, inside his dressing room, the actor could not stop thinking about the forbidden room. He walked down the hall to the door and paced in front of it for a moment. He reached out for the handle but stopped. His hand reached out again, gripping his finger around the handle. Locked. He crouched down and looked through the wide, old-fashioned brass keyhole. The air around him turned cold. In the corner of the dressing room, very similar to his own, was a woman. A woman with skin as white as snow and hair as black as ink. Leaning into the wall with her nose in the corner like a misbehaving child, the woman stayed silent. He stared at her for what seemed like an eternity, but she never moved. Unnatural. Still. This didn't feel right. He couldn't even detect the faintest of breaths. His hand reached out for the door again, wanting to knock, but something didn't feel right. His hand fell back beside him as he stood up, returning to his dressing room, where he anxiously paced. He went back to the door, unable to appease his curiosity. He crouched back down to peer through the keyhole, but this time, all he could see was red. He couldn't make out anything, and couldn't see if the woman was still standing in the corner. He thought maybe someone knew that he'd peeked, that he'd been found out, and that the woman in the room had covered the keyhole. Something about the unnerving red bothered him. So he decided to ask the woman at the box office. "Would you mind telling me why the room with no number is off limits?" he asked. She paused for a moment, fear emanating from her eyes as her stare penetrated his. "Did you look?" she asked. The actor, furiously debating whether or not he should come clean, decided against it and told her he had not. Unconvinced, the woman said, "A long time ago, before my time here, tragic events took place in that room and an actor died. Her ghost now haunts it. The very few people who have dared to look into that room have all seen her ghost look back. In the following days, they've all died, gruesome deaths." The actor breathed a sigh of relief. He had looked at her, but she hadn't looked back. "They say her skin is as white as snow," the woman continued, "but her eyes are as red as blood."